Hello, citizens of the internet. My name is AJ. I am the A2Z artist. Welcome to my channel. Today we have our first episode 2. Technically speaking, I called the Disney Wars episode 1.5, episode 2-ish, but today is the official episode 2 of Pokemon D&D Fusion. That's right, my highest performing video so far is getting an episode 2. Who would have thunk it? Today's a little fun little twist on the Pokemon D&D Fusion, though. As I talked about before, the Pokemon D&D Fusion idea comes from Jess Jackdaw. Her channel is fantastic. She does really fantastic job with these really painterly, over-the-top, fantastic D&D monsters that she creates by fusing D&D monsters with Pokemon. And I loved the idea. I'm a huge tabletop gaming nerd, and I love Pokemon. And she has given out lists, the list she used for her fusions. But I decided today, I did use one of those lists. I used the D&D monster list. But I used a random number generator to pick 1 to 400, which was the extent of the Galar region Pokedex in Pokemon Sword and Shield. I wanted to kind of go with a little more of a more modern, up-to-date feel, just because I know with the expansion pass trailer, everyone's going to be looking for Pokemon Sword and Shield, and I just really wanted to play with those designs because I love those designs, and Pokemon has always been a huge part of my childhood, and I'm going to be honest, a lot of my character design chops come from studying Pokemon and trying to understand what they're going through with their design process. So yeah, I picked 1 to 400 for the Pokemon, and then for the D&D monsters I still went with 1 to 100, using Jess Jackdaw's list. I got 3 really fun and kind of weird combinations that I wasn't expecting, and it came up with probably 2, if not 3 of my favorite drawings that I've done on this channel. 2 of them are definitely up there. The third one I'm on the edge, but overall, this was probably one of my favorite videos to film in a very, very long time. So if you like these fusions, if you like my drawings, be sure to hit like down below. Hit subscribe if you like my channel. I do a lot of nerdy videos like this. I have a lot of fun just drawing and making fan art and character designs and telling stories. So be sure to follow along with that and leave a comment down below. I'll have a question of the week at the end of the video. Without further ado, let's get into it. Goburo the Squirrel King. No one knows how Goburo, the so-called Squirrel King, earned his name or gained his quote-unquote intelligence. Though he has little common sense or social tact, Goburo's mind has evolved past that of his squirrel brethren. This could be a result of scientific principles, long-running theories of natural selection, but most believe it stems from magical intervention of some kind. This is because Goburo is actually a master of bardic magic. What we do know, mostly from lengthy pre-battle monologues, is that Goburo was orphaned at a young age. His mother, a very typical red squirrel with no affiliation with magic or any other major skills other than being a squirrel, was killed protecting her child from a pack of wolves. From there, Goburo stayed on the fringes of human society. He feared the forest and what lay within. He claims it was his attempt at protecting mankind from the dangers of the woods, but even the hint of a howl sends the Squirrel King scampering up a tree. No one knows how or when he gained his intelligence, but Goburo eventually did, alongside a rather impressive penchant for crafting tools. During a goblin raid, the town that Goburo watches over was actually saved by the young squirrel and his many brethren. Over time, Goburo had learned that his voice and his songs, little tunes he sang while out gathering, influenced the world around him. Nature answered his call, none more so than his squirrel brethren from the forest. They flocked to him as he sang or played the drums he had built, hypnotized by beat and sound. Goburo didn't recognize it as magic at first. In fact, he never had the mind nor the patience to really understand magic as a thing. But on the day of the goblin attack, Goburo flew into action. He began playing his drums, and the creatures of the forest flew into a frenzy. The birds swooped and pecked the attacking goblins. The squirrels swarmed and flooded over the horde of goblins. Everyone forgets that squirrels are agile and fast, and their jaws can chew through one of the world's toughest nuts. The average goblin didn't stand a chance. Even a few bears came to aid Goburo's call. Goburo had saved the day, had become one with the forest, but the people of the village weren't enthused about a creature capable of using the forest denizens as an army. They feared magic, as they were a simple farming group. So they drove Goburo into the forest, hunting him and his friends for days. Goburo grew to hate the humans, and now acts as a sort of bandit on the road. Do not be shocked if, when approaching the village of Viverka, if a horde of squirrels or a flock of canaries overruns your caravans. This character was originally going to be a lot different. I had originally planned to just make a super oversized goblin, like super fat, kind of think The Hobbit, the first Hobbit movie where there's that really fat, oversized king goblin that lords over his group, his army. I thought that was going to be kind of a fun idea, and as I was going, I was like, this has kind of been done before, it's not really that interesting, and then I kind of just had a spark of creativity, and I realized I could make a squirrel monster. Like, I had this great opportunity to make a squirrel monster, and I didn't take it. So I jumped in and started doing some design sketches. I really pushed the idea of the Squirrel King and his love of being a bandit and stealing gold and stuff like that, and I wanted to add the drum aspect in it. It seemed weird and over the top, and I don't know, I think that was kind of where the direction I wanted to push this character, was weird and over the top. There's an interesting differentiation in genre between these three different characters I did this week. This one is very much so a humor character, I think. It felt very strange as I was doing it. I was having a lot of fun, and there was nothing really typical fantasy about this character other than the fact that he can use magic. That was a lot of fun to design. I don't really do a lot of fun designs like that. I do a lot of really like serious characters and really dark and noir and just not different, you know. I like to feel like I'm trying to push my boundaries in my character design, but I go to a lot of the same tropes over and over again, and I think this was a fun way to kind of break that. You can see I kind of skipped past a lot of the drawing phase for this one. I had done a sketch in my sketchbook, and it just kind of was perfectly what I wanted, so I jumped right into it. I did kind of slow down the drawing process for this one a little bit more, and you can see that since I added a full background, it took a little bit longer in general. A full background, I didn't even use perspective or any of that. I just added a couple trees and a gradient in the background, but I don't know, it was a lot of fun to try and figure this character out. A lot of fun to kind of push the trees in the background, even though I really need to study some landscape art. That's going to be kind of my focus for the next couple weeks in my studies, is trying to draw out some landscapes and try to understand where some of these little artists are coming from. But overall, this was a lot of fun. I hope you like it, and let's get on to the next one. Fusion 2, the Armored Sand Dragon. All adventurers know of dragons. After all, they tend to be the greatest threat an adventurer can encounter, as well as the source of the greatest wealth. Dragons are a greedy bunch. But there is one species of dragon that most adventurers today fail to encounter, as is the last of its species. Armored sand dragons used to thrive in the southern deserts, far away from their draconic brethren. This was a necessary adaptation. After all, this species never evolved wings. Now, other dragons have no wings. In fact, among certain species it is incredibly common. However, these other species have developed other means to defend themselves. They tend to be incredibly fast or have incredibly strong breath weapons to defend themselves. Armored sand dragons, though, have neither of these. Their primary defensive adaptation is a thick exoskeleton-like armor that coats the entire upper portion of their bodies. Their stomach and appendages are mostly bare, but their top is nearly impenetrable. Given that these creatures can curl into a ball with relative ease, they are an almost indestructible threat. Nevertheless, for thousands of years, armored sand dragons were relatively non-threatening. They lived in harmony with human nomads, and as a small, relatively speaking, dragon race, they could subsist on smaller prey like camel or crocodile. As a species, they developed natural defensive adaptations. Their dense armor took on the colors of the stones in the area, and their stubby, strong legs grew thick, shovel-like claws that allowed them to dig beneath the sand to hide from prey or overhead predators. The massive horn that grows from the creature's muzzle was used to strike back against these airborne enemies, as they never evolved a breath weapon. This horn once came in a myriad of different sizes and shapes, each distinctive for individuals. Now, there is only one horn found amidst the southern deserts, as there is only one surviving member of this species. Due to overhunting by other dragons, they are considered a delicacy like crab, or from other sentients who use their armor plates to build armor and weapons. The last surviving armored sand dragon now wanders and hunts at will, cutting down any who cross its path. Its violence and paths of destruction are told about in many varied legends, as this creature's presence has become well known in the south. Adventurers beware of a lone, gray stone column sticking from the sand. This may be a natural outcropping, as it may seem, but it may also be your end, buried beneath the sand. So for this one, I had to combine two very different creatures. I had to combine Trapinch, which for a Pokemon is based on a type of beetle or bug that crawls under the sand and then reaches out and snatches onto prey. And I also had to add in the dragon turtle. And I really kind of struggled trying to figure out a way to combine them. But pretty quickly I came to the idea of beetle. The dragon turtle has that really hard shell protecting it from creatures under the water, and Trapinch being the bug burying itself under the ground. I thought of like desert beetles, and I really pushed that concept around. I don't think I pushed it far enough. I think this one is definitely one of my favorite drawings I've done for this channel. I love this dragon. He was a lot of fun to design and draw, and so many little intricate details that I went through trying to get him going. I tried to do some underlighting, and there was just some really fun things that happened with this character. Overall, I love this drawing. Don't get me wrong. There were just some ways I could have pushed this further, kind of make it feel more like a beetle, make it feel more like a dragon. It's just kind of in a weird middle place. Like I said before in a previous video, I'm super critical of my own work. I think all artists are. I mean, it's just a fact of the matter of who we are. But overall, I love this piece. I think any chance I get to draw and design monsters now is kind of what I'm looking forward to, because it really allows me to step past what I'm used to doing, which is people and drawing just human characters, superheroes, warriors, stuff like that. It's just a lot of fun to try and break through. So I hope you like my Armored Sand Dragon, and let's get on to the next one. Warlocks of the Great Old Ones are deftly aware of the threats that lie beyond our world. They draw their power from these threats. For there is a multiverse, infinite and vast, and there is a set of deities sleeping just beyond its borders. Outside of existence, the elder gods slumber, uncaring for the worlds beneath them. Nevertheless, their magics and their attentions sometimes make it to the world beyond, causing all manner of chaos to take hold. One of these beings, simply known as the Researcher, has taken it upon himself to study the ways of humans. His primary area of interest is vice, how sin affects the human soul. And through his power, 7 weapons have found their way to our world, each imbued with the great power of the old ones, and the attributes of the sins the Researcher has determined to be the cornerstones of all others. Zacian the Gold was once known as Zacian Gather Regis, the prince of a vast kingdom known as the Gather Dominion. He and his twin sister, Zamazenta, spent their childhoods as close friends, but as their father's feelings became clear that Zamazenta would inherit his throne, Zacian's personality took on a dark edge. He lashed out, angry, and lavished in the wealth of his wealthy family. Upset at his son's attitude, the king cast him out of his house to make something of himself. Many adventurers have a similar start, but few fail as badly as Zacian. He never learned the lessons his father tried to teach him. Zacian, greedy and power-hungry, turned to one of the nearby rangers' camps. If he has to make his own way in the world, he would need a trade that earned the fame of an adventurer and money from long-decayed tombs. All the better. And fame he did earn, and money. He even decked himself in lush purple silks and gold armor, earning him his gaudy nickname of the Gold. He would be drawn into the Researcher's schemes through one of his adventures. Alongside his direwolf companion, Zacian traveled south, looking for a dungeon of a mad warlock. Word was, this warlock liked to build weapons, and Zacian loved magical tools. So he delved deep into the tomb of this warlock, fought through his defenses, and found the sarcophagus of the ancient spellcaster. Inside was an ancient, rusty sword, one that did not play to the aesthetics of Zacian's adventurer name. Still, one might have need of this clearly magical weapon, and so he took it. The second the weapon touched his skin, Zacian began to change. He became the embodiment of greed, the blade's corruption seeping into him and into the direwolf through their magical connection. Tendrils of Icarus energy seeped from the blade, enveloping them both, and when Zacian's eyes finally opened, he was now a monster of gold and ichor, always screaming if his mouth wasn't tied shut by his own silks. He was the first of the Researcher's 7, and he would be the first to spread his corruption to the greater multiverse around him. I had luck of the random number generator pulling out a legendary Pokemon for this episode, and I was just ecstatic because I was like, there's so many cool places I could go with this. I can go godly, deific kind of feeling, or I can go with a feeling of just, I wanted to push the power of this character. And then I got stuck. I had no idea where to go with it. I wanted to do kind of a werewolfy feel or something, and then I had to mix it with a star spawn. Star spawn are these creatures that come from the great old ones. They're literally just sacks of worms, and so I was thinking sacks or worms that just take over a wolf carcass or something. That's not fun to draw. And so I thought, and I came up with an idea, looking at an image of Bloodborne. Bloodborne is steeped in Lovecraftian mythology. Lovecraft is the one that came up with the great old ones and the idea of Cthulhu and all those over-the-top great old one gods the elder gods that live beyond our multiverse kind of idea. And I kind of clicked because the Cleric Beast in Bloodborne was kind of the direction I was hoping to go with. This really big, oversized monster, really overpowered on one side, and really emaciated on the other. I love that design because it's just so cool and dynamic, and the asymmetrical feel of the character really makes the Cleric Beast such a force to deal with in the game. So I really wanted to capture that feel, and all of a sudden I had that idea of this werewolf-like creature with this rotting skull, and then all of a sudden these tendrils just seeping out of his arm, making this giant-looking arm. And I thought that was such a cool idea to kind of incorporate the wormy aspect of the Starspawn. That's kind of a gross way to put it, but the worm aspect of the Starspawn with also the feeling of Zacian, of this deific legendary Pokemon that's capable of anything. I thought that was the way to go with this story, and I'm glad I went that direction, because this is by far one of my favorite pieces that I've drawn in a very long time. It's the amount of detail, but it's also the speed at which I drew this. Once I figured out a pose that worked, I flew through this until I got to the very small, intricate details of the tendrils. But yeah, overall, favorite piece I've done in a long time. I hope you like this one as much as I did. My Zacian the Gold, the Angel of Greed. I'm kind of wanting to do another few videos with characters like... I hope you enjoyed Zacian as much as I did, and let's get to the end. So there we go. That is my Pokemon D&D Fusion Episode 2. It was a lot of fun getting an Episode 2 out. I've been doing this long enough now that I can have an Episode 2 and feel really good about that. Plus, the Pokemon D&D Fusion, like I said, it's my most popular video, and I think part of that is the fact that it's Pokemon and everybody's searching for Pokemon all the time. But it's also got to do with the fact that I'm just really having a lot of fun with these drawings. I think people are drawn to that, and I think these drawings are just coming out better for that. And so I hope you really enjoyed this video. I'm playing with an idea. We'll see if I actually go through with it by Friday, because I'm playing with the idea of doing a second video every week. We'll see if that goes through. I work part-time, so that sometimes gets in the way of creating these videos. One video a week, I'm still trying to get into the rhythm of putting that out. So a second video a week might be overkill, but I'm going to see, because I kind of want to do a vlog style video every week. I wanted to do something with just talking about my interests, going through some of my nerdy stuff. You can see I have a wonderful shelf full of things I've collected over the years. It's literally been years, like 3. So there's nothing... it's not that impressive, but I want to do videos where I talk about my collection. My first video idea that I want to do is my Disney pin collection, because that's my biggest collection and what I most enjoy doing, because I'm a huge Disney nerd. So let me know down in the comments if you would like to see a kind of vlog style video from me. Also let me know down in the comments, my question of the week this week is, what horror tropes draw you in the most? I'm a huge fan of horror movies, and with that last Zacian drawing and the idea of the Lovecraftian horror and that kind of creepy tendrils and tentacles and kind of gross feeling stuff, it's kind of a fun conversation topic. I want to know what your favorite horror tropes or the things that scare you a lot with horror movies. Let me know down in the comments. I might see you Friday, I might see you Monday again, but either way, I hope you have a great week this week. Be sure to leave a like if you like this video, subscribe if you like my channel. I do nerdy videos like this all the time, and I love making videos like this. So let me know, let me see your support, and be safe, be kind, and have a little fun this week. Bye! Today we are doing something kind of fun. I say that every single time I start a video. I picked 3 Pokemon at random. I used the random number generator to randomly choose one of these random... Ugh. I am in a place today, apparently. I'm such a weirdo sometimes.